Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, Mr. Hayes, thanks for your dedicated service. We're very grateful. Thank you. Madam Secretary, you brought up sequestration. And I just wanted to ask about this revenue owed to states under the Mineral Leasing Act. In March, the Department of Interior notified states that it would withhold over $109 million of revenue during the remainder of fiscal year 2013. This was before you were confirmed. This was before you were sworn into office. At that time, the Department said that this decision was in accordance with the Budget Control Act of 2011, the sequester. 3 weeks ago, a bipartisan group of us, 10 senators, 5 members of this committee, Senator Heinrich was one, Senator Mark Udall, Senator Hoeven, Senator Lee, and I sent you a letter along with, not to send a letter to OMB. I think you have a copy of the letter. But in that letter, we asked OMB to confirm that your department would return mineral revenue withheld in fiscal year 2013 to the states and do that next year in fiscal year 14. We explained that a provision within the federal budget law required the department to return withheld mineral revenue to the states when sequestration took place back in the mid-1980s. The same provision of the law applies today to the sequester, which took effect this year. So you have a copy of the letter to OMB. Can you confirm that the department will return mineral revenue withheld in fiscal year 2013 to the tune of $109 million to the 35 states to which it is owed?
Senator, thanks for the question and your letter. I understand the importance of mineral revenue to the states. We are doing our best to comply with the Balanced Budget and Emergency Deficit and Control Act, otherwise known as the sequester, and our understanding is that we were required to withhold payments. It is designed to be inflexible, damaging, and indiscriminate. It is, and this is an example of that. So I will be fulfilling my obligation under the law. Whether that requires a repayment to the states or not is something that certainly OMB is the right place to assess this. If we're asked to do that, we absolutely will do that. We appreciate the importance to the states, but we are doing our best to comply with the law as it's written.
Thank you. I'd like to ask you about the BLM's revised hydraulic fracturing rule. Today you announced extending the comment period another 60 days. I understand the oil and gas producers will be able to obtain a variance from BLM's rules in states which have their own hydraulic fracturing rules that, quote, meet or exceed the BLM's rule. I mean, that's how it's written.
Correct.
But BLM it says also that the BLM may rescind this variance or modify the conditions of approval at any time. So this is hardly the certainty that you acknowledged during your confirmation process is so important for the private sector. You had said they need certainty. It's unclear to me why BLM is adding federal regulations on top of state regulations. You know, Wyoming adopted hydraulic fracturing regulations about 3 years ago. Since then, nearly all states who have meaningful oil and gas production have adopted or are in the process of adopting their own hydraulic fracturing rules. Many states, such as Wyoming, already apply their rules to federal lands within their borders. So in this respect, BLM's rule is a solution, it seems to me, looking for a problem. So do you believe that states which are currently regulating hydraulic fracturing aren't doing a sufficient job? And if so, which states do you have in mind?
Well, Senator, I want to say that it's highly variable between states. The state of Wyoming is sophisticated in its oversight of hydraulic fracturing. We applaud that. You understand the resources within the state, and I think that it's a good example of a state that's doing an effective job. Our role is to provide minimum acceptable standards on public lands. That is our oversight on behalf of the American people, and that's what we're doing. The reason for the comment period, the 30 days initially and now the extension of 60 days, is to provide an opportunity for people to comment on those rules to determine if it's problematic for them. And so we will be listening to those comments and reacting as appropriately.
I appreciate it, because the variance process leads to uncertainty. It doesn't give the kind of certainty that you talked about in your confirmation, so I appreciate that. Final question about leadership of Bureau of Land Management. Last year, Bob Abbey, the director, retired. President Obama has yet to nominate a successor. As the President considers a replacement, it's critical that he look to qualifications outlined in federal law. The Federal Land Policy and Management Act states the director of the Bureau shall have, quote, a broad background and substantial experience in public lands and natural resource management. Bob Abbey had over 30 years of experience working for land management agencies prior to his nomination as BLM director. His predecessor, Jim Caswell, also over 30 years of experience in land and natural resource management prior to his nomination. So do you believe the BLM director should have a broad background and substantial experience in land and natural resource management as the law calls for?
Senator, I'm going to do my best job to find someone that's highly qualified for the position, that has requisite experience, and I need to take into account the talent that exists throughout the BLM and the ability of an individual to lead that organization, leveraging the talent that's there. That's what we would do in private industry. You take all of these things into account, and I'm certainly committed to doing that here as well.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.